The Scots have had a huge influence on the settlement of Canada, and nowhere more than in Fergus, Ontario, where we're headed today. The first Scottish settlers began arriving in 1833 and originally named their village Little Falls. The waterfalls on the Grand River provided power for industry, and characteristic stone buildings began to appear as the village expanded. A tannery, a gristmill, and by 1880 an electric generating station were erected. The historic downtown includes a handsome post office building, a rambling inn, a livery and a foundry, all indicators of the industrious nature of the Scots. In August, the town comes alive to the skirl of the pipes. Welcome to Escapes with Nigel. I'm Nigel Napier-Andrews, and today we're here for all the fun and Highland games. At the Fergus Scottish Festival and Highland Games, the clans and competitors gather for 3 days of celebration, as they have done since 1945. The professional men's heavy events are really heavy, and for once I'm not going to have a go. We're talking to Warren Trask, who's Athletic Director of the Highland Games here in Fergus, and there's lots of activity going on behind us. We've pulled Warren away from his job to have a chat with us. And Warren, what do you have to coordinate today?
We have a caber toss, which is the ultimate heavy event. Everybody understands a caber toss, where they toss a telephone pole. We've got the hammers, 2 hammers, which we did this morning, a stone, which is thrown much the same as an Olympic shot put. We did the sheaf earlier today, and that's a very visual one for the crowd, where they throw a bale of straw basically up over a high bar.
How high
Wait
was
for
it?
height. Oh, the winning height today was 30 feet 4 inches.
Good
so
Lord.
it was over a 3-story house, which is pretty incredible.
That's amazing.
Amazing, yes.
These guys must be strong.
That's what they do. They're very strong. None of them do it all the time.
Right.
Like it's not something we can make a living at.
Right.
But they'll be gone 20, 25 weekends a year around the world throwing. So it's a great part of their lives.
Extraordinary. So we've got some fantastic champions here today, and we're going to talk to a couple of them. Can you tell me who we're going to talk to?
We're going to talk to Matt Doherty, who is 2-time Canadian champion. He's having an excellent day today. He's won 2 of the 3 events already.
Right.
And we have Jamie Trask here, who is the youth Canadian champion. He won in Antigonish about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And he also set a new Canadian record yesterday in the weight for height.
Fantastic.
And then joined us last night to set a world record in the sheaf toss. So you've got some pretty good champions
coming. And he's
coming.
got a very similar last name to you. There's some
Almost
relationship
the same.
here, sir.
Yes,
Almost the same?
He's my boy child.
He's your boy. He's your little boy, is he?
My little boy, yes.
Okay, and how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Oh gosh, I feel like little, but they put me in a hole in the ground, so I'm
They
not
do
really
that.
this small, am I?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm surprised that they put me on this ledge.
Warren, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So lovely to talk to you, and have fun at the rest of the game.
Thank you.
We're talking to Jamie Trask. Just recently became a new record holder. What sort of thing is the crowd favorite in your sports?
Our sports, I would say the caber.
Caber toss?
Yes.
And are you involved in that as well?
Yes. The biggest I've tossed was 21 feet.
That's 21 feet long?
Yeah. I'm not sure on the weight. I think
No.
it was 70 pounds maybe.
I'm not even sure I could pick that up. I mean, it's like a telegraph pole, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the crowd loves that, I'm sure. Do they cheer you on and get right behind you?
Yeah,
when you're
they
doing
find
that?
it very exciting.
Yes. And I understand here last night at the games, a world record was broken of the most caber tosses at once. Were you watching that?
I was actually in it.
Oh, you were in it. And so how did
Yeah.
you do, and how many people were there?
There was about 60 people there, and
Right.
I flipped it both times. We
Fantastic.
tried, so.
So I know you've got lots to do, and I know you were competing yesterday, but you're helping out with all the heavy events today, and there's more for us to see, so we're looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Thank you
Okay.
very much indeed.
Thank you.
We're here with Matt Doherty, 2-time Canadian champion at Scottish heavy events. Matt, what have you done today?
Today we're 3 events in already. We had the stone throw first thing, and we had our 2 hammer throws, and I kind of dug myself a hole in the stone throw, but came back strong and won the 2 hammers.
Meanwhile, I understand that you recently broke one of your own records.
I did.
Got a new Canadian record. Tell me about that.
Last weekend in Maxville, just outside of Ottawa, I was able to extend my Canadian record in the light hammer through just over 146 feet. So
that is a long way. How do you get in this sort of shape and get into this sort of competition?
a lot of us have started off in other events. Myself, I'm a track and field athlete, all through university, so we have a strong training background. A lot of the events we do, I mean, you're throwing very heavy objects. You have to develop a certain musculature to be able to do that. And I mean, we spend a lot of the time in the gym, in and out of the gym, doing the kind of exercises that allow us to throw far and not get injured.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job today, and the crowd clearly just loves you all.
Oh.
So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing the rest of the day with you
Thank you.
competing. Thanks so much, Matt.
No problem.
David Webster was the game's colour commentator for more than 30 years and is the author of the definitive book on the Highland Games. David, how did you come to write this book?
I became, at a very young age, a fan of the Highland Games, particularly the heavy events people, and I followed them through the years. And of course, you pick up a lot of information, and people would say, how do you know that, and so on and so forth. So I became quite pleased to hear that they were interested in these things, and looked to the old-timers, and even in my time. And so you build up a lot of knowledge, and then people ask them to put in their magazines, and so you do magazine articles, and then you say, I think I'll put this in a book. But the particular one, the world history of Highland Games, took a great deal of research to make sure that what I was saying had foundation.
Now, how did you come to Fergus 30 odd years ago?
Through reading about them, reading about all the Highland Games and picking out which are the best that you could do. And of course, you want to spread the gospel, as it were, to get them truly done in a traditional fashion.
This community of Fergus really grows enormously during the Highland Games. It must be very, very good to have a Highland Games in a community.
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic for a community. I know that in Scottish Games, the Scottish Games are very different in this particular way. Here, it's a massive, massive concern.
What would you say to somebody who has not come to the Fergus Highland Games? What would you say to somebody who has never been?
You're missing something fantastic.
And what is your favourite of all of the Highland heavy sports?
My favourite sport within those, tossing the caber would be my favourite of all the heavy events. And I should say that when you're watching it, they're not trying to toss the caber as far as you can. Most of them, you're doing something to see how high you can throw a weight or for distance. But in the caber, you're trying to throw it with accuracy. It's got a wonderful history. It started on the Spey Valley, where the loggers, or I think you would call them lumberjacks, they would have to get the cabers. The Scottish word for log is caber, and that's the proper pronunciation, is caber. And so they had to get the cabers into the centre of the stream for the water to take them downstream.
Right.
Now there's little stones and everything there, and the kids are doing a lot of work to push the things into the middle with long poles. I'm talking now, hundreds of years ago, a couple of hundred years, 300. And so a good caber tosser who could just pitch the thing right over there was a godsend,
No Scottish gathering would be complete without Highland dance competitions, and today they're featuring every style of dance and every level of expertise.
What's your name? What is it? Joseph. Joseph, come on around to the door over. Let's give Joseph a round of applause. All right.
Traditional skills are brought to life at the festival with demonstrations like sheep shearing.
That's it, and you're going to bring it up to speed now. That's good. Just keep it up like that. You're doing good. If you can hold it at that particular speed. This machine is 108 years old. 108. It was made in Toronto. Yeah. You're doing really, really well. We're just going to finish up a little bit here in the legs, okay? Are you still good for another minute? Okay, you're a good lad. Boy, we picked the right boy here. So you can see, look at that beautiful job. Look at that. Look at you. Look what you did for us. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
We're talking to David Radley, who's the president of the 69th Fergus Scottish Festival and Highland Games. Did I get it right?
Perfect.
Fantastic. Now tell me, there must be an enormous number of volunteers that are involved here.
There absolutely is. We have 2 or 3 people work in the office to help us, but otherwise it's all volunteers. There's a great number of them work all through the year, but certainly the week before the festival and during the festival we have hundreds of volunteers here, and they're the nicest people. They'll help anybody, and they all pitch in and do whatever's necessary to make it happen.
David, this must be a tremendous benefit to the community.
Oh, it is. It is. Obviously, the downtown community get a great benefit. Just the number of people that come into the area for the bars and the hotels, and then the downtown shopping. We're now tied in with a parade on Thursday evening, so the whole thing ties in very closely to the community, and it's a tremendous benefit to the community.
So as we travel around the countryside doing shows, we say where we're going to go, and we tell people we're going to the Fergus Scottish Festival and Highland Games. And a lot of them say, well, I haven't been to that. What would you say to somebody who's never been?
It's a tremendous opportunity to see Scotland without the airfare. You come over here, we have the heavy events, we have the Highland dancing, we have the clans behind us here, we have a heritage tent, we have the pipes and drums competition. It's everything about Scotland. It's a great atmosphere. People come, there's all sorts of concession here. You can get any food you want and anything Scottish you want. They should come up here and really experience a piece of Scotland.
And it all comes to a rousing conclusion with the massed bands. Thank you for joining me today at the Fergus Scottish Festival and Highland Games. Please don't forget to check out their website and check out my website for all sorts of extras about the show. We'll see you next time on Escapes with Nigel.